Brother Piya Tan start his talk. I would like to give a brief introduction of him. Brother Piya Tan is a meditation therapist, counselor, a writer, and a translator. He was a Theravada monk for 20 years, and he learned insight meditation from Mahasi Sayadaw. As a lay teacher, he learned forest meditation from Ajahn Brahm. I believe most of you know who is Ajahn Brahm. And today he is a full-time lay Dharma teacher, specializing in early Buddhism. He was consultant and regular lecturer to the Buddhist studies team that successfully introduced Buddhist studies in Singapore secondary schools in the 1980s. He also taught in the University of California at Berkeley, USA. He has written many educational books on Buddhism. Some are those that we all just collected. He conducts classes on Sutta and Pali, meditation courses and retreats for students and adults, including non-Buddhists. Brother Piya Tan founded the Minding Center in 2006 to provide non-religious service to those in need of counsel and service. For those who know some of the books are not enough, if you need other books, you can go to the Minding Center in Shenton Way, Hex 0306, Shenton House. Right?
But must let us know first because we're not there all
we have
the
to
time.
let them know first because in case you go there then they don't have stock for books. Right? So before we start, can we give a round of applause to Brother Piya Tan?
I'm very happy to be with you here tonight because this is Sutta, I call it the Sutta capital of Singapore. So I'm very happy to be here because my specialty all my life as a Buddhist has been the suttas. And that's about 50 years already. So it has been a very wonderful journey. It is a wonderful journey for me. Now today's title of the talk, as you know, is how to read suttas and what are the benefits. So actually it's quite easy. I can teach you how to read sutta. Very simple. I'm sure the meaning here is how to read means how to use suttas. So now I'm going to straight away teach you how to read sutta, and then later we will look at the benefits. So okay, I'm going to pass around this very important sutta, and I will show you how we read the sutta, how we study the sutta. I'm passing around what is called the Anicca Cakkhu Sutta. Now, how many of you here have heard of this sutta, Anicca Cakkhu Sutta? Nobody? Oh, okay, someone. Okay, that's my student. Anyone else? Okay, never mind. I'm very happy I'm able to present this to you. Now, as you all know, the sutta belongs to the oral tradition. Oral tradition, that means everything is spoken, the student must be there, and there's a direct experience. This is very important. Early Buddhism, I use the word early Buddhism referring to the Indian Buddhism of the Buddha. And I refer to the Buddha today as the historical Buddha. This is very important because there are many kinds of Buddhism today. So we have to be very exact who we're talking about, what we're talking about. So my specialty is early Buddhism. I have only one refuge, that is the historical Buddha. One reason for this because during my 50 years of Buddhism, I'm 68 this year, so actually more than 50 years. I went through a long journey, studying all kinds of Buddhism. At one point, I thought, yeah, there's so many kinds of Buddhism, I have to learn all of them, talk about them, even defend them. But I find it's very difficult to talk about Mahayana, Vajrayana in the same breath as early Buddhism. So in the last 10 years, our family moved to Singapore around 2001. I decided that I should go back to early Buddhism. I started with early Buddhism, I became a monk in Thailand. So I came back. I studied all kinds of Buddhism. Now I tell myself I must go back to early Buddhism. It's much simpler, easier to teach also. And more important than that, this is the path to awakening. You know, one of the most important things about being a Buddhist is what happens to Buddhists. A lot of Buddhists say, I don't know what's going to happen to me. You know, other religions, they say go to heaven, they have some kind of place, you know, after at the end of the world, for example. But most of us, we're not sure. Now I'm going to ask you a very important question. How many of you here aspire? I say, only know aspire. Okay, I ask why. I say, aspire to be stream winners in this life. How many of you? Put up your hands. Oh, that's wonderful. There are. You know, I have 20 people in Kuala Lumpur who are determined to be stream winners in this life. That was last year. This year, 30 people. So every year, twice a year, I go there, I give them sutta study. Do you really want sutta study? You know what they told me? They said, one person told me, you know, I've been going to this temple for 20 years. It's a big temple, you know. All the teachers is transfer marriage. And they never teach us we can become stream winners. We can awaken in this life. So she was surprised, right? We have never taught these things, you know, and we got to discover this thing for ourselves. Now, where did the Buddha tell us about this teaching? I mean, this is not something we invented. It's there in the sutras, in the Samyutta Nikaya. If you can't remember what I said today, just remember S25. Anybody knows what S25 is? Yeah, there's some Pali scholars here, I'm sure. S25 is what? There's only one number here, this is the problem, you know. S35 means Samyutta Nikaya, chapter 25. Anyone knows the name of the chapter? Okay, now we come to reading the sutta. It's all here. Okay, can you just have a quick look at the top line? What is the name of the chapter? There's a bit long words there. Okay, the top line says S3.4.1.1. This refers to the traditional numbering of the suttas. Traditional numbering means the Tipitaka of Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Southeast Asia generally, Theravada. Okay? S3.4.1.1. S means Samyutta Nikaya, 3, Kanda number 3. You can see on the right hand side, Samyutta Nikaya 3, and then Kanda Waka 4. That chapter is called Okantika Samyutta. Okanta or Okantika Samyutta 1 and Chakku Waka 1. Okay, this is the traditional, a bit difficult to remember. Okay, but just remember Okanta or Okantika. Any Pali scholars here? Okanta means what? Okanta is a special Pali word for going down into a boat. It means descent, but descent in a good sense. Normally when you say descent, it's got a bad sense, right? Here descent, going down into a boat. So the boat comes near the pier, people step down to the boat. Okanti, go down to the boat. Or we say what, turun kapal, or naik kapal is a picture, you know. So this is the imagery the Buddha uses for people who become streamers. They go down into this boat. Now at first I thought, okay, they go into the boat and then they become streamers. They follow the stream, they go down in the big ocean, right? That's what I thought, you know. Yeah, I realized, that's not correct. Because the Buddha says his teaching is Pati Sota Gami. I know some of you have heard this word before. Have you? Pati Sota Gami? Anyone knows what it means? Against the stream. Pati means against. Sota, stream. Gami means going, one who goes. It goes against the stream. The Buddha's teaching goes against the stream. Stream here, samsara, the stream of samsara, great delusion, the floods that carry us away. Okay? So this boat, you go down to the boat, it goes against the stream, it goes up. to Nirvana, the ancient city in the Nagara Sutta. Everything is there, beautiful, you know. So that's the meaning of Okanta. You go down to the boat, it goes upstream. This going upstream is a very wonderful word, you know. Remember the story of the Buddha after he took Sujata's offering, after the Bodhisattva, he decided to take the middle way, so he has to take food, right? Then the 5 monks left him. He's all alone. This one is the story version, not historical account of the Buddha. So he took the bowl given by Sujata. It is said to be a golden bowl. Then he made a vow, an act of truth. It's called Sachikiriya or Sachakiriya. In other words, he says, if I'm going to be awakened, then this bowl which I put on the water will be carried upstream. Okay? So he put the bowl there. Of course, the bowl did go upstream. If not, we have no Buddha. Of course, some intelligent student in science will say, how can that be? Right? So you are proud to answer. Okay, this is where the sutta helps us again. Now there is a sutta in the Anguttara, in the book of Truths, which is called the Nitata Sutta. Okay? Which is not in your notes, I'm just telling you first. I'm just looking for the reference. Okay. It is in A235 and A236, two very short suttas. I'm going to read to you what the Buddha said here. Bhikshus, there are these two who misrepresent the Tathagata. What are the two? Those who explain a sutta whose sense is drawn out as to be drawn out. And number two, those who explain the sutta whose sense is the first one, the sense need to be drawn out. In other words, it is implicit. The second one, the sense is explicit, direct. Okay. So let's simplify this. The Buddha says, when you read a sutta, you must decide: is this sutta explicit or implicit? Explicit nitata. Nitata means the meaning has been drawn out. That means the Buddha uses direct terms of Dharma. For example, the 5 aggregates, impermanent, anicca, dukkha, anatta. These are direct teachings. No need to interpret. They're very clear. Whenever the Buddha mentioned once there was a king and then amended this, mentioned names, indirect. That's indirect teaching. Neyatta. Neya means we should tease out, bring out, atta, the meaning. Okay? So whenever you read sutta, ask yourself, what level is this? Is it explicit or implicit? Must we bring out the meaning, or is the meaning very direct? Now this sutta is very important because it explains a lot of things. You know, there are lots of fantastic stories, regular stories related to the Buddha. If you tell these stories, modern audience will say, oh, how do I believe all these things? Right? Magical powers, ED powers. When the Buddha was born, he could walk 7 steps and then he spoke in a bull's voice. How can a child do that? You know, all these kind of stories, how do we interpret? This sutta helps us. So if you follow the sutta, we know these are stories the Buddha used. It doesn't matter whether they are true or false. That's not the idea. You know, everybody, every intelligent person in this world likes to watch TV, go to the movies, and we know all the shows are not true, right? Yet we still watch the show. Because, yeah, we enjoy it. We like the heroes to, you know, prosper, live happily ever after, and so on, right? The Indians love stories. So the Buddha uses a lot of stories. Now, it's not that the stories are false. You can say these stories are more than true. More than true in a sense that you don't have to go through all these troubles that the Buddha has gone through, all these stories. These stories is telling you, if you do this, this is what will happen. If you do something good, this is what will happen. So it gives you a scenario. So you don't have to get into trouble. So this is very important, the story. Every religion has got this story aspect. You don't see this in daily life. maybe there are symbols and so on. The meaning must be drawn out. Okay? So now coming back to our messages now. When the Buddha was putting his bowl on the water, right? And then the bowl went upstream. Is that possible? You can use science to explain it. Yeah, you have to kind of try hard a bit. There are some eddy current, the current went up. Oh, there is a river. I know somewhere in South America the water flow backwards, and so you can try. But still, it's not the general rule, exceptions. In other words, we cannot really take this story on a historical level. This story is on a higher level. This story is trying to tell us something wonderful about the Buddha. That his teachings will go against the current. If I just say go against the current, it's very technical, But this story dramatizes it, because in the Buddha's time there's no computers, no TV, no cinemas. This is their TV and cinema, the way they tell stories. So stories are very important. The bowl flowed upwards. The Buddha's teaching will go against the current, something different from the world. Otherwise, no point, right? It brings us out of the world. And then the bowl sinks down to the water, and then it settled under 3 other bowls. And whose bowls are those? The 3 previous Buddhas of this world cycle. So there goes the story, right? Telling us very beautiful, very inspiring for people with faith. We say, wow, this is wonderful, we like this story. In other words, this story shows that this Bodhisattva Gautama is sure he will become the Buddha. So remember these 2 levels of meaning whenever you read sutras. Okay? So you can tell people, it's okay, you don't believe all the fantastic story, but there's a meaning there. It shows the Buddha is no ordinary person. Alright? So that's the first part. And then you come down, you can see 7 on the left is a chapter number. This is chapter 6. This is SD16. The back page, can you see on the top left-hand corner? If you want to locate the sutta, you want to contact me for the latest one, you got to tell me SD16.7. You go online. Okay, if you go online, you can get the reference bottom of the page. Can you see bottom right hand there? dharma.org. Okay? Now this website has got all the suttas have been translated. Okay? About 10,000 pages like this in 57 volumes. Bhante Chakapala has some of them. Okay, you can see. And I think we will be giving a whole track of it to you all, to the temple one day. Okay, so remember the address, dharma.org. Okay? Then, back to the front, on the right hand side, this is very important, I call this the signature. Can you see top right hand corner? Big words there, Anicca Chakku Sutta. Now you must always be inquisitive, alright? For example, you must ask, why is there brackets for Anicca? Okay, originally the title is simply Chakku Sutta, but there are many Chakku Suttas. So if say I give a talk and then, or someone give a talk and say Chakku Sutta, then you come to me, you say, oh, this one mentioned, this speaker mentioned Chakku Sutta. Then I ask you, which Chakku Sutta? And you say, I don't know. Once you say, I don't know, we can't locate the sutta. Then there goes wisdom, right? So, Anicca Chakku Sutta. This sutta talks about impermanence, dealing with the eye. Second line is a translation. It tells you the impermanent eye is cause. Okay? That's the English translation of the title. And then S35.1, you either remember this number, very important, or you remember the sutta name. Some people are better remembering names, some people are better remembering numbers. So 2 choices. 25.1, very easy to remember. What does it mean? S is Samyutta Nikaya, collection of kindred sayings collected in sets. Sutta 1. Now, Sutta 1 to 10, S25.1.2 until 10, they all have the same subject, very similar to what is read here, what is written here. Once you study Sutta, you find the style is the same. All the other 9 suttas, all these 10 suttas, in these 10 suttas, the Buddha guarantees that you can attain stream winning in this life. Have you ever heard this before? I couldn't believe it when I read it. I never had this book come and someone tell me like this in a loud voice. 50 years being a Buddhist, nobody tells me this. I got to dig up in all the books and say, wow, look at this. So now I'm telling you the good news.
What's the meaning of stream winning?
Okay, very good. Stream winning is the first stage of sainthood. The very first step you take on the path of awakening. Now I decided that we have to call it path of awakening, not path to awakening. Because path to awakening, that means the path doesn't matter, the goal only matters. Okay? But the path of awakening is important because you overcome the 10 hindrances, the 10 fetters, stage by stage. That means it is the path that makes you the saint. That's why it's called path of awakening. You must walk the path. If you are not a stream winner yet, you are still not on the path yet. But we are working on it, keeping the precepts and so on. You only as a stream winner, you start on the path. Right? So stream winner, why is it called stream winner? Because we go down into the boat, remember? Okanti, you go down to the boat and the boat takes you upstream. The boat is the Dharma, and you go upstream to Nirvana. Okay? So that is stream winning. Yeah, it's good. You're not sure of any terms, put up a hand right away, ask me. So, S25.1, and then if someone asks you, what is this sutta about? And then you look at the theme, how to awaken in this life itself. Yeah, I use the word awaken a bit broadly. Okay? As you all know in traditional studies, as a stream winner, you can go up to 7 more lives. Yeah? I asked a lot of monks, is it exactly 7? Many of them say, well, it's just symbolic. In a sense, it's true because of the concept of time in Buddhism. When you say you have 7 more lives to go, if you are reborn as a Brahma for 1 life, wow, that's many world cycles, right? So 7 more lives doesn't mean 7 human lives, It can be many other higher levels of life. It's a long, long time, But don't worry, during that long, long time, you will never break the precepts. If you do accidentally break the precept, you'll be very open about it, you'll try your best to be good, you have great faith in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. The stream winner has got 4 wonderful qualities. Full, wise faith in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and he keeps his precepts well, 5 precepts. Yes. Okay? So, now comes the translation. The impermanent I discourse. Now to save paper, I only printed the translation for you on 2 pages here. The whole study on this text is about 24 pages. Okay? So if I printed for every one of you here, about 100 people, with about 2,000 of them, a lot of paper. So, but another thing is I want you to go to the website and download it yourself. Please do that. All the details are there. Now, if you want the latest one, let's say you want to have a study group, the computer one, you go update very fast because I update it whenever I have new materials. Email me or email Ratna. The email is very easy to remember. dharmafella@gmail.com. dharmafella@gmail.com. It's found in the books that you given to you. Okay? Or you can go to the Facebook. I have a special Dharma Facebook. My Facebook is very different. It's not those quarreling, gossiping. I throw out all those people, It is only for early Buddhism. I say, you come here, this is my house, we will talk early Buddhism. Nothing else. Okay? But something related to early Buddhism. Okay? So you can also come to the Facebook. It's really fun. I call it a fun Buddhist book, FB. Okay. The impermanent I discussed, S35.1. I keep repeating all these numbers. It's a childhood problem, Because when I was a kid, I never have all these numbers. I don't know where the sutta is. So hard to locate. So I said, I'm not going to get this problem anymore. So I repeat all these numbers everywhere so that I remember it. I know where it is. You ask me, I immediately know where to locate it. Otherwise, you waste time. But is this done in a scholarly way? I followed the scholarly standards, and the scholars themselves know this. There are PhD people who use this kind of online sutras also. It's for all levels, beginners as well as the scholars. No? But this sutras is for people like you. It's not for the scholars. I maintain the international standard because I don't want scholars to say, oh, this is just Sunday school notes. As if Sunday school notes are not good. These are important notes. But I've applied what is called the critical apparatus. If you are a scholar, you know what a critical apparatus is. That means you make sure your sources are authentic. You tell in your work where the work comes from, cross references, you explain the meaning of hard words, and so on like that. Okay? Alright, now let's have a quick look. Then you got the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4. These are paragraphs number. This number, I try my best to follow the Pali Text Society numbering. If you have seen the Pali Text Society Pali book, they got all these numberings. But the problem is this was done like over 100 years ago. Okay, so they are scholars. Many of them were not Buddhists those days in London, and they got people all over the world helping them. So sometimes they put the numbers kind of very big chunks of Pali words and then one number. So not very helpful. So in some cases, I renumber them. So easy for us when you study, especially the teacher in private, say, look at paragraph 1, paragraph 2. So every paragraph just got a few lines, right? So look at paragraph 1, it says Atsavati. This is Samyutta Nikaya style. It just tells no Evam Nesuttam, that already mentioned right at the start of the chapter. Here, somewhere in the middle, so it just says this sutta is given as our tea. There, the Blessed One said this. And then I add in all these subheaders. This will help you mentally to remember what it is. You see, Bhikkhu Buddhist translations are very good. But for me, very useful. But many people say, wow, look at that. All one big chunk, very hard to read. But I always say, don't look down these kind of books, they're very helpful. You can't sleep, you read them. Then you fall asleep with the sutras, you wake up happy. So I even tell people to read my translation also like that. So you think it's difficult, you read it before you go to sleep, okay? The double blessing. Right, you fall asleep and then the last thing you remember sutras also. Just read a bit, doesn't matter. You don't have to read the whole Tipitaka, just a bit will do, okay? Alright, okay, this is the core teaching, section 3. The 6 senses are impermanent. This is what you must remember, reflect on. Bhikshus, okay? Now bhikshus are the audience. So just, some people say, oh, sutta only for bhikshus, only for monks. Not true. Buddha Ghosha says so. In the commentary to the Satipatthana Sutta, M10, the Buddha Ghosha says, the word bhikkhu here refers to all those present, all those who are listening. And that makes sense. Imagine the Buddha sitting and teaching the Dharma, who are present, later after the first 10 years especially. You got the monks, who are, most of them sitting in front, and then the nuns on one side, and then the laymen, laywomen. The fourfold assembly are present. But the Buddha always said monks, because the monks are the most regular. They are right in front, okay? And the Buddha will look at them and say monks, right? So it's just what is called in literary terminology, synecdoche. There is a big word, let me write for you. You know why I use big words like this? This is so that the scholars don't look down on us. Synecdoche simply means shorthand. Shorthand. So the monks is a shorthand for the fourfold assembly. Alright? The Buddha is not like us today. We have public gathering, we say monks, nuns, laywomen, distinguished kings and peers. Wow, long introduction. No, the Buddha just say monks. Sometimes the Buddha uses a person's name if he's only talking to one person. So remember, this monk is just to show that there is this transmission of the Dharma from the Buddha to the assembly. The monks, why they call monks, why are the monks addressed? Because it is their responsibility to protect the Dharma, protect what they have heard. And it is because of this word monk or monks, you have the sutta in your hands right now. You know how old this document in your hand is? It's one among the oldest documents available today, older than any of Shakespeare's work. Shakespeare, 17th century. This one is 2,500 years old, and you can still get the clear meaning because we have Pali. You know, some people say, oh, how do you know Pali is accurate? Well, it's the best we have. That's good enough. And then you support it with your meditation. They work together. I'll talk about this a little later. Okay? So this is a very old document, and it gives us the Buddha's very clear and simple teaching. This is what we must remember. Section 3. Bhikshus. The I is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Always examine the first line you read, because the rest of it repeat themselves. The I. Then the next word is impermanent. The Buddha didn't just say impermanent, he says changing. Impermanent means the nature of the I is such, it cannot last forever. Then changing, meaning our eyes change over time, the colors fade and so on, changing. Become otherwise? I was diagnosed with glaucoma. Can you imagine if I went blind, I can't do my work. Normal sutta work already. So luckily I got the diagnosis early before the actual serious symptoms started. So the doctor told me what to do, a good eye drop, so I'm okay in a sense. So far so good, I say. So, but the eye has become otherwise. Otherwise means what you expect is not there, it becomes something else. Our whole body is like that. The eye, next thing I see is, I've underlined for you, next one, ear, below that, nose, tongue, body, mind. All the 6 senses are like that. Okay, this is the start of the Sutta discovery. We lay down everything. We don't say etc. This is one big problem with Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. He used a lot of etc's. The peyalas, we say in Pali, pe, P-E, pe means etc. In Thailand, when I was a monk, we always say pe, means etc. Instead of talking in Thai, we talk in Pali, we say pe, etc. Short for peyala. For example, in the published books of Bhikkhu Bodhi, probably you will write it as the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, 3 dots, is changing, is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. But that's not too bad. But sometimes whole passages are the word etc. And even I don't know what's the missing passage, and that's very difficult. So in this translation, we offer to the sutras all the paper in the world. We lay down everything with no shortcuts. Unless it is not the Buddha word, then no need to preserve. For example, Mara also sometimes say things, no need to preserve Mara's speech. Just write enough, just short line enough. But when the Buddha gives teachings, the repetition is very important. In fact, there was a scholar that was, God has passed away, this scholar in the UK called L.S. Cousins. He wrote a book review of the Majjhima Nikaya translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. He said it's a very good translation, but among the shortcomings is that there is too much shorthand, etc. So his argument is that the repetitions must be laid out in full. He says that if the Buddha didn't deem it as important, he wouldn't have repeated it that way. Because the repetition is what brings you awakening. The repetition is what separates the men from the boys, as they say here. Those with a lot of defilements will give up by the repetitions. So don't give up. Because the repetition is not meant to be read like a newspaper. You say newspaper, you say, old news, you throw it away. This is not newspaper. Maybe new paper, perhaps. It's new, but not newspaper. Because whatever is taught here may be old, but it's the truth. It's the liberating truth. I like to think of the sutras as computer programs. Those of you who have done computer programming will know that computer program, every word must be correct. Everything must be in proper lining and nesting, concatenation, and so on, many terms for it. The sutta repetition are arranged like that. There's a wonderful system. If you know programming, you can write a thesis on this. Meaning, when you listen, the suttas are meant to be heard. They're not actually meant to be read. If you read, it becomes a bit difficult, unless you really love the sutta. What I'm telling you is, you just try, you go back, you get someone with a nice voice, just read this 6 lines. And then before you do puja, or after you do puja, when you finish the puja already, then you listen. Just listen to this nice voice, very calm, soothing. The eye is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The ear is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. It's meditative listening. You listen, at the end of it, then you sit down and meditate. This is one way you meditate on impermanence. Okay? Then in your daily life, you look around, you meet some friend, you see, the eyes come old already. The ear is so old already, the body old already, and so on, right? So then that's the experience. This is called anicca sanya, the perception of impermanence, right? That's the daily practice. Okay, so that's the practice you do. Section 4. Bhikshus, one who has faith thus, who firmly believes this truth or is convinced, square brackets means you can alternate, you can choose, is convinced of this truth. It's called a faith follower. Now the square brackets is called alternative translation. That means sometimes it's very difficult to translate one Pali word into English. Because Pali tend to have pregnant meaning. One word can have many meanings. Or the technical term is polysemy. Poly means meaning, semi means meaning. So many Pali words have many meanings. For example, sankhara, so many meanings. So you can't translate with just one word. You can use formation as the most common translation, but there are different times you can't. Even the word sanya, you usually translate perception, right? But sometimes you got to translate as consciousness. Like in neva sanya, nasana, yatana, right? The 4th formless realm. So Pali has got this quality of being polysemic. Okay? Now you may say, wow, doesn't that make it difficult to study early Buddhism? The meanings are not clear. Not at all. It's not that they are not clear. The meanings are versatile. The words are versatile. Because some of the things you cannot describe technically. This is another important thing you must know about the early suttas. Most of the early suttas are non-technical. Technical means one word, one meaning only. But not so in the early sutras. Especially the Sutta Nipata, the new volume is coming out in September. The Sutta Nipata is poetic. In fact, most of the Sutta Nipata are in verses, poems. That means it is, you got to interpret it. There are occasions where the teacher will show how wise he is. He will interpret all these verses and beautiful words for you, teaching you Dharma. Okay? So many of the Pali words have different meanings. So here I put the square brackets means if you don't like the first translation, you can use the second one. If you don't know the meaning of the first translation, look at the second one like that. So you can self-study on that. So the square brackets means alternate translation. So that's the faith follower. Now the Buddha tells you what are the benefits of this faith follower. He is descending into the certainty of rightness, or the fixed cause of rightness, to rightness. When you see rightness, it refers to the path, samatata, path, samatata, sorry. Samma, S-A-M-M-A-T-A, the path itself. Descending into the plane of the true individuals is another term for the streamliners, true individuals, or sapurisa, the good person. He has gone beyond the plane of the worldlings, putujana, people who get caught up with the world, who chase after things which are not there, like looking for Pokemon monsters, they're not there. People who, collect things which are not important. People are caught up with the world. Okay? He is incapable of doing any intentional deed in which he might be reborn in hell, or in the animal birth, or in the Preta realm. He is incapable, okay. In other words, if you aspire to be a streamliner, and then you tell yourself, okay, I will have faith that 3 jewels, or do my best to keep my precepts well, and then your practice is reflecting on impermanence regularly, then the Buddha says, he is incapable of dying without having attained the fruit of stream winning. That's the line that convinced me this is the most important document for the practice of medicine. You may not become a stream winner while you are awake here and now. But the Buddha says if you practice and you live and practice in this way, constantly reflecting on impermanence, keeping your true refuges, keeping your precepts, when the time of passing away comes, you will become stronger. That makes very good sense. Because of habitual karma. Because we habitually think of impermanence. If you think about impermanence, then you are not attached to things. Right? Let me tell you a quick story here, how a certain monk in Thailand is not attached to things. The Sangaraja of Thailand, one of the school Sangaraja, one day got this wonderful gift from China, a very ornate teapot. So ornate, he dare not use it. So he put it on his shelf. Every morning the nabis will come, carefully dust it. So every time devotees come, they say, this is a beautiful teapot given by someone from China. He's so happy, very proud of it, as a monk can. He's very happy. And then one day, this novice, as you know, they're not very careful sometimes, he dusted it, and it fell down and broke. The Sangaraja looked at it, he says, oh, anicca. And he said, oh, sukho. What does oh, sukho means? Oh, joy. He says, oh, joy. You know why he said, oh, joy? He said, now my suffering is gone. Because he was so attached to it, Now it's broken, he doesn't have to be attached to it anymore. He's not upset because he reflects on impermanence. Now, at home, you are in your room, suddenly you hear something in the kitchen breaks. Okay. Now, if you think of scolding people all the curse words, you're not a Buddhist. At that moment, you're not a Buddhist, okay? So you better correct yourself. No, anicca. It's meant to be broken. Never mind, that gives meaning to shopping, The last part is not part of the reflection. So, impermanence. Once you refer impermanence, you are not shocked by what's happening in the world. You are calm. You can practice because you have wisdom. That's how it works. But you're not strong enough to be a once-returner or non-returner or arahat yet. Okay? But streamliners. So streamliners are not very difficult. King Bimbisara was a Srimana, he had many wives, he was a king, and there were businessmen also who were Srimanas. Okay? So Srimana just like what we are right now, keeping the 5 precepts, only we are more determined to keep the 5 precepts. Imagine we are not a Srimana, what the future life is likely to be. We might suddenly go down to the 4 lower worlds. So it makes sense to aspire to attain Srimana. Okay, next part. Now this is the concluding part. Next page. 5, section 5. Bhikshus, one who accepts these truths after pondering over them with some wisdom thus, meaning impermanence, is called a truth follower. Okay, you got faith follower, truth follower. These 2 passages repeat themselves, only the 2 words are different. Faith follower, that means if you are the faith kind of person, you say, wow, this sutta study are very tough. I don't think I can study sutta, but I'm happy to accept that everything in this world is impermanent. That is called faith follower. The other one said, oh no, I want to investigate. Where are all the sutta that talk about impermanence? So investigate. Okay, so that is the truth follower. So they are by faith or by truth. These are 2 of the indriyas, faculties. Depends on your personality. The Buddha is referring to this kind of 2%. Whether you have faith or you have wisdom, either way, you will become a Srimana if you aspire and you practice the perception of impermanence. And then everything repeats itself, so I'm not going to read it again, same as the section 4. Section 6, the Buddha defines who a Srimana is. One who knows and sees this truth thus is called a Srimana. He sees it, he knows it. No longer bound for the lower world, surely going over to Sahavekana. Very well. Surely going to Sahavekana. Okay, after that you see A1. A1 means thus so. Okay. This A1 I like it because it brings back my memories of my years in Thailand as a monk. Every full moon, new moon days, all the monks of the temple would gather in the Uposatha hall. We all sit together and then listen to this senior monk giving a 2-hour Dharma lecture using palm leaf. Okay, it's not the way I talk, no different tones. It's the same tone every time. Very traditional. Right? The monk must talk very nice, very calm. Okay, and usually the elderly folks. This is what the Nabi's done. He says, you see along the walls, you will see the elderly folks. Those are very experienced, many years. They sit there. After that, you see the wilting lotus syndrome. Everybody put their palms and listen for 2 hours, After that, the elders, the hands will go down. That's called the wilting lotus. And then they are blissfully asleep. That's why they are resting against the walls, okay? And then at the end of the discourse, the sermon, the elder monk will say, and so the Buddha taught all this Dharma, and then he will recite the Pali words and he'll say, Evam. That means everything is finished. And all these elders say, sadhu, 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 they all wake up at the same time. So this Evam has got this meaning, means wake up. Okay. Okay. So now you got numbers at the bottom there. These are numbers I use. These are computer dates. 050802 means 2005, the year. 08 is August. 02 is second. 2nd August 2005. That's when I completed the very first draft. And then I revised it over many years. So imagine this started in 2005. Now it's 2017. And then the latest one, 2017, February 22nd. Now these numbers are important because if you want to use it for study, you look at this so you will know which is the latest. If you're not sure, you can email us, we will send you the latest copy. It's all computerized, so very easy to send you. Some of those online are not that new. Okay. Now I've already taken about 1 hour, nearly about 45 minutes. So any questions? I only studied the suttas, I'm not really gone into the
Yes, Mr. Piya Tan, I do have a question. You mentioned just now, the numbering of suttas according to Pali Society. right? Now, for example, if you put D, Roman letter 2, and then the number say 45 for example. So it means it's a Dika Nikaya, volume number 2, page, whatever number is. Now, if you were to look at the suttas in Pali itself by PTS, it comes 3 volumes. You look at the page, the number is there. But for translated copies of wisdom, for example, right, Jose, how one locate the page that is listed in the Pali or the Pali Text Society?
Okay.
I don't know when many of all when I start studying suttas.
Yeah, very good question, yes. Let me try and give you the example. Have you got this book? If not, you look at your friend who has got a book. How many of you don't have this book? Don't have? Any extra copies or not? You all have this book? Look, you don't have any book? Okay, it's coming behind. Okay, let's turn to this book, page 15. Page 15. 1-5. If you don't have that book, let me see. You can look at your friend's book because okay, now you look at page 15, you go near the bottom, can you see section 9 after the word not addicted to drinking? Can you see? Alright, what do you see after that? There's a number, right? Brackets 2 and 4, it is in bold print. That number refers to the paging in the Pali Text Society Pali version, if you want to check the Pali. Okay? So that's the one. And then you go further up, can you see 283 there? 2, 4, 6, about 8 lines from the top. Right? Page 283. That's page 283. Okay? Alright? Can you see? Same page, 15. Can you see 283 near the top? Can you see or not? 283. 2, 4, 6, 7. The 7th line from the top. The line starts, considering thus his income. You got that? That's page 283, right? Now, if you want to be more sure, you look at the top right hand corner. Top right hand corner, you see A 8.54, right? That means Anguttara, the book of 8, number 8 things, and then dot 54. 54 is the sutta number 54. Okay? And then, what do you see after that? Slash 4:281 to 285. That's the reference page. Volume 4, 281 to 285. So from there you can check the Pali. Okay? So this is the simple system. It's not always this simple. If you have a problem, you contact me later. Okay? Any other? Yes?
According to your book here, Sweet Anger, number 6, one will know and see these truths before the Sweet Anger. According to Abhidharma, to be a stream anchorer, according to Abhidharma, to be a stream anchorer, you have to destroy 3 factors.
You have too much, sorry?
According to Abhidharma, to be a stream anchorer, you have to destroy 3
factors.
defilements: self-illusion, skeptical doubt.
Oh yes, of course, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's not just a Dharma. It's in the suttas. Yeah, no, you're right. It's just that this sutta is just a short one, guaranteeing that if we reflect on impermanence, we will attain true meaning. That's all. Because the sutta is too long, people won't read it, you see. So there are always themes in the sutta. There are other suttas that talk about the 3 factors. You're talking about the 3 factors. Yes. In other words, we ask the question, okay, how do you define a stream winner? A stream winner, number 1, has broken the factor of Sakaya Ditti, self-view. He doesn't identify himself with the body or any of the 5 aggregates. You know, a lot of people, they're very worried about their body. They say, oh, do I look okay? The young people, they like to show off their muscles, things like that. And then we identify our photograph, we say, nice photo now, and so on. So, of course, those are minor things. Sakaya Ditti is worse. It's that you're so attached to the body that it actually troubles you when anything happens to the body, for example. And we have this idea that something permanent about the body. So all kinds of wrong views that are connected with the my body, Sakaya Ditti. And number two, attachment to rituals and vows. Sometimes doubt is put number two. This means you don't have faith in the Buddha. You know, some people think, oh, I come to the temple, I burn joss stick. Wow, look, I burn 108 joss sticks, a lot of smoke, you know. And then, or you put $10, oh Buddha, please give me $1 million, you know. So, not very good bribe, isn't it? $10 for $1 million. So the Buddha says, don't pray for such things. You won't get them. Yeah? The Icha Pancha Ita Sutta. He says, if people just pray for what they want, they don't work. So if you really want all these things, you must work for it. You want to be beautiful, live a life that makes you beautiful. And always keep the precepts. You want to be rich, live a life that brings you wealth. And keep the precepts like that, you know. So this attachment to rituals and vows means you look for answers outside of yourself. You believe in something outside of yourself, like God idea. God idea is not helpful because you depend on external agency, something outside of you. You say, oh, please help me. Oh God, please destroy my enemies. Wow, that's not better at all. You know? And they are destroying their enemies all over the world now. Not very pleasant, you know. So that is attachment to rituals and vows, looking for answers outside of ourselves. Our problems start inside us with the way we think. If that's the case, the problems are solved inside us, not through rituals. Okay? That's the meaning. Okay? You look within yourself to solve the problem. Now, this is not to say every time you go to the shrine hall, you bow down, is there a ritual? That's a good ritual, that's different. When you do it mindfully, you say, first time I bow down to the Buddha, second time to the Dharma, third time to the Sangha, then you reflect. Or you say, first time I bow with my body, second time I bow with my speech, third time I bow with my mind, okay? Body, speech and mind, and so on. So it becomes meaningful. That's different. So in other words, we do not externalize our refuge. We do not seek answers outside of ourselves. There is no answer out there. The answer is inside you. The truth is not out there. It's inside you. Okay, simple term, don't be superstitious. That's the meaning of that pattern. If you are superstitious, you cannot be a streamer. Then doubt. How do you get doubt? By not studying. You don't know the sutras. So how can you know things? I mean, you know a lot about the things. So many teachings by this scholar, that teacher, but you don't know what the Buddha said. You don't know what the sutras say. A lot of doubts. So doubt starts with wisdom. Wisdom means study, questioning, discussion, and of course meditation. But for stream reading, the meditation aspect is not so emphasized. The important thing is calmness of mind and break the three fetters. Okay? That's the short answer. Yeah, so you're right. Any other question?
Any other questions? You can write in the paper if you are shy to use the mic.
How to refer to all these Nikaya books? The suttas you have to find out.
Yeah, the
How to
suttas.
refer to all these.
No, you start reading page 1. And then after you jump about, you see what you like, you read. But I won't recommend you to start with Nikaya. Okay, now I come to a very important part of this. Just give me a minute. I know someone who asked a question at the back. Just a minute, huh? Okay. Let me answer this very important, very interesting question. You know, I got to confess to you, I've not started my talk yet, you know. I only introduced the suttas to you. The sutta was meant to be the last thing, but anyway, I'm happy with that. Let me, since you asked about the books, let me tell you this. Okay, Nikaya are very long suttas. So the idea is to impress the non-Buddhists. You notice Nikaya Sutta, long stories, you know. Very difficult to study. Ahanya Sutta, wow, it's very long. Even the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, very long. Okay? This is to impress the non-Buddhists, especially the Brahmin, to say, wow, look, we got all these long teachings, right? you can't practice most of the stuff there. They are stories. Some of them are very fantastic stories. Like all the powers of the Buddha are listed. Okay? It's a prospectus. So my advice is you hold on to the Digha Nikaya, or you can select certain suttas you can read. You can email me, I'll tell you which one to read. Yeah? Maybe you can start with the Aganya Sutta if you like. But I can't remember the number. Anybody remember Aganya Sutta D what? Never mind. Right? Okay, so we have this series are from the Sutta Discovery series, SD series, right? So we have been doing this for 15 years, ongoing. That's about the time we moved to Singapore, 2002. Almost every day I'll be translating something. Every 3 months we come up with one volume of Sutta translation, about 180 pages, ranging from 10 to 20 suttas. So I finished 23 of the 34 suttas of the Digha Sutta. 23 of that means 70% finished. Okay? Majjhima Nikaya is the middle length saying. Now this one's a bit easier to read, Majjhima Nikaya. For example, you can start reading M10. M10, anyone remember what's M10? Satipatthana Sutta on meditation. Okay? So it's much easier. Alright? M10. Now, so Majjhima Nikaya, there are 152 suttas, and I've completed 112 of them, translated 112. Now, when I say translate, it also means I put in a lot of notes. You know, when I told people I translate suttas, people often ask me this question. So why you want to translate? Bhikkhu Bodhi already doing it, and so many publications, right? Well, I have given 20 reasons for it at the back of this book. Okay, 20 reasons. Okay. I'm not going to tell you all the 20. Let me just tell you one or two. Okay. Number one, the Sutta Discovery has got the most amount of notes and commentary available anywhere. And everyone who uses it knows a lot of notes. So if you're a teacher, you're very happy. You say, wow, this is wonderful. And you know what I like about it? They will say, oh, bless Piya Tan. That's why I say, oh, good, that's wonderful. You know, they will thank me. You talk about good karma. That is good karma. But people say, thank you, you know. And the problem is, I faced that problem long ago. You know, I said, where do I get all these things? I could not find all those things. So now I said, I want to make sure nobody else has that problem. They have all the things they want, they can get it in one sutta translation. Number three, Samyutta Nikaya, there are, according to Bodhi's calculation, 2,904 suttas. I've only finished 367 suttas, 367. One reason in many of the sutta and the Samyutta, they repeat themselves. And they just change one or two words. So only 13%. Anguttara is even bigger. Anguttara, according to Bhikkhu Bodhi's calculation, 8,112 suttas. But the reality is, of this, more than half, 4,250 are payalas. They repeat. They repeat themselves, change only one word. So effectively, the independent suttas only 3,872, 3,008. Of these, I've translated 347. But they're all very long suttas, you know, about 4.3%. Now, although the Samyutta and Anguttara don't sound very big, but we're talking about 57 volumes, 10,000 pages. That's enough for one lifetime for you to study. Okay? So that is the Sutta translation. And then you have the 15 books of the Buddhaka Nikaya, the smaller books, also the translations from there. And the Vinaya, mostly from Mahavagga, the story part of the Vinaya, especially part of the Buddha is from there. And I've completed around or more than 110 essays. And also every week I will write a reflection. Either a happy reflection to inspire people, or a thinking reflection to make you think. Every week, if you give me your email, we will send this reflection to you free of charge. If you want to be on our mailing list, you just give your email to partner sitting in front of you afterwards. So we put you on our weekly mailing list, and you get all those reflections. So I've written more than 500 reflections over the last 10 years. So it looks like I'm writing essays all my life. Right? Okay, sorry, now questions.
Any questions?
Thanks, Brother Piya, for explaining the sutta. So if we are about to start reading the sutta, right? So you mentioned Majjhima Nikaya would be the easiest sutta to read. So after Majjhima Nikaya, what would be the next easy to read?
Okay, let me put this way. I think it's a very personal thing, you know. If you really love reading, you can start anywhere. The important thing is just every time you get a sutta book, just buy it, you keep it. You don't wait until you say you want it. It might be sold out, you know. For example, the Sutta Nipata is going to be published. Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation is coming out in September. I've already pre-ordered mine. Someone in the US did it for me. It's cheaper that way. So you just put it on your shelf, and then when you feel that you're reading it, just open and then read something. You'll find something interesting. So that's one way. Tikam we say. Open, just read it. Everywhere is Dharma, so it doesn't matter. And then you just continue reading, and then you find something interesting. I can guarantee that with my translation. But let Bhikkhu Bodhi talk about his translation, okay? Because the style is different. Now, if you look at the notes here, you find at the bottom there are lots of cross references, right? So you can start with this Samyutta Nikaya. It's even easier than Majjhima. And then there are cross references. Tell you look at D33 or M under N10, it tells you. So you study by themes. Alright, so here you read something maybe about stream winner, faith follower, and then you read elsewhere, there's some more information there. So that's one style of learning. Another style is you read one sutta right through, like Sigalovada Sutta. Sigalovada Sutta is in this book. Right? Again, Sigalovada Sutta, a lot of notes. Okay? I realized after 15 years of doing sutta work, I can tell you this is a modern commentary. But there are lots of comments, okay, in that sense. Yeah? So it's all there, cross references, so you can select the sutta that you like. Sometimes you hear people talk a lot about certain sutta, so that's another way. You get the title, get the number, study. So no need to be systematic. Read what you like, and then the network will build up like that. And then slowly over years, you get used to it, you understand the structure, and then you build your foundation, you build up the sutta knowledge that way. Remember, sutta is not like newspapers. When you read it, something happens to you. Very important. You just don't take a vow, I'm going to read the whole of the Digha Nikaya this lifetime. I don't think you'll fulfill that vow. So it's not that, nothing to do with the sutta itself. What I'm saying is, it's the style of the sutta. If you read by yourself, it's tough. You need a teacher. Or you know how to read a sutta because you are a reader. The suttas, with the help of a teacher, are very easy. On the other hand, if you are a total beginner, the Anguttara is the safest bet. Anguttara, the book of numbers. Okay? The number one is book of ones. Everything is just one. For example, the Aga Savakas, who are the great foremost monks, right? Ananda, famous for his memory, okay? Chitta, the house lord, the most famous Dharma teacher amongst laymen. Right? So simple things like that. And then the book of fours and so on increase until 11. So Anguttara is the easiest for you to read even a beginner. The toughest is Digha Nikaya. Majjhima Nikaya talks a lot about meditation. Okay? Long discourse on meditation. Samyutta talks a lot about doctrine. The Samyutta, connected sayings, connected teachings, they put all the teachings according to theme. For example, all about Four Noble Truths. All the teaching given by King Pasenadi, or given to Pasenadi, or given by Pasenadi. And there is a Chitta Samyutta. He's a layman, he's a wiser layman. This Chitta is also a famous meditator. He's a layman, mind you, he can attain all the four jhanas. And he's very humorous. So remember, meditators are also happy people, If you're a meditator who don't smile, you don't learn from him. The Buddhas always have a smile on the face, right? Happy. You must be happy when you meditate. If you're not happy, it's going to be very difficult to meditate. There is something called the inner smile. You find the sutta as hasapanya, the laughing wisdom. In other words, if you have difficulty, you can't meditate, you smile inside yourself. The smile is a gesture of loving kindness. Okay? You smile with loving kindness. You know, when you smile, when you meditate, the distraction will go away. Okay? If not, there are other ways, but smiling helps a lot. Okay? Alright, so that's a bit about the suttas. Any other questions?
Sorry, Brother Piya.
Yeah.
So, for your sutta discovery books, right? Do you have the soft copy or?
Yeah, we do.
You also have.
Yeah. You go to dharma.org, everything is there. All my life's work is there. It's all free, you can download it.
And the last question is about commentaries, right? So do you think commentaries is important in that one?
Oh, commentaries are very tough to read, very difficult to read. Number one, the language is difficult because they use long Pali words. You know, like German words, you know, those compounds, very long. That's one. Number two, there are lots of complex ideas. Okay? In fact, the Abhidharma also there. Number three, the commentators also tend to express their opinions at that time, which may not apply today. Otherwise, many of the commentarial matters are very helpful for us to understand the sutras. In other words, where the commentaries explain the sutta, they are very helpful. So, but I would give priority to the sutras. Okay? When the Sutta Nipata translations come out, it is, I think the structure is very good. You have both the sutta and the commentary. Now, the Sutta Nipata is special because it's one of the oldest collections of the Buddha's teachings found in this Sutta Nipata. And some of the latest also are found there. It's a collection of suttas. No? So you have the commentary, so it's very easy, very helpful to read. Yeah? So you read the Pali, the sutta passage. Okay, this is how you read it. First, read through. Don't look at the note. Just read through once. That's number one. Read through the sutta, just like a newspaper. Number one. Don't worry, we don't know the meaning. Just read through. In other words, like making friends. Read through. First time. Remember, sutta, you must love the sutta, otherwise it won't work for you. Love means what? Don't say, ayo, why so difficult? And one word you don't use is chin. Never say chin. Now you're laughing because you know, huh? Okay. If the sutta is chin, goodbye to you, lower realms, next life. And it's not a warning. This is telling you don't go there. Don't say chin, you know. You say, I'll try. There are always simple suttas. Right? So, read through once, don't understand, so never mind. Second time, okay, then you look at, in the case of this sutta, there are footnotes, look at the footnotes, and then go across the cross references. You can get lost in the cross references because sometimes you go one book leads to another, and then the next one leads to another, endless, you know. So you decide when to stop. But sometimes it's very interesting, you just want to follow through. That's fine also. And then you say, okay, this is wonderful, I want to come back and read this again, right? I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years, you know, I'm only doing it for 1 hour or 2 hours, right? So just go on doing it, right? And then after that, third round, maybe you can highlight parts that you like, question mark difficult parts that you're not sure about, and that's when look for monks and teachers and ask them questions, okay? So there's 3 levels of reading at least. Okay, next question. Sure.
Going back to getting the reference according to the Pali Society. Now, if you look into the wisdom publications, right? The advantage of your citing, say D2, the American Nikaya, volume 2, and page number, right? But to get the page number, it will not correspond with the actual page number of the books by itself. We call it translation, the pages that you run, you see. Of course, the advantage of this is that it goes straight to the point of the citation. By looking into the wisdom publication, how do you find that particular citation in the sutta itself?
It's the same thing, you look for that. The problem with the wisdom publication is they don't highlight the numbers. Very difficult to look.
Yes, you only put in square brackets.
Yeah, so what I do is I use a yellow marker. I only buy yellow, because yellow is the best, very bright. So I will highlight that number. That's one way. Highlight the page number, because it's they try to make it so nice until you can't read it. So difficult to read. So I think it's good. The British, they highlight the numbers because it's easy to see. So you highlight the page number, and then you look at the top. What volume is it? Always remember the volume. The what's called embedded paging. It's called embedded paging because it's embedded inside. Only gives you the page number. You must find out what volume also. That's why, otherwise you can't get it. So then you got the volume number, page number. Then you look at the pattern. Okay. Of course, sometimes there are errors, so you have to kind of be circumspect, as you said. You got to check a bit, right? Okay. Any difficulty, as I said, email me while I'm still alive. I'll help you.
Right here.
Yes.
The academic side of Buddhism is actually the Pali Canon. So we have the Tipitaka, the Vinaya, Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and the Dharma Pitaka. So today we are talking about the Sutta Pitaka and all its components. The Nikayas and all, they are written at different times.
They were not written, they were recited.
Recited at different times.
Okay.
And recorded at different times.
Okay.
And also, they are also recorded by different people because at different times with their own attachment and perspectives. So, is that considered when we look at that?
So your question is about how were the suttas collected?
Yeah. So that because just as you mentioned about commentaries, even like social media, as you go down, as time goes by, and we are all humans,
very true.
Attachments.
Yeah.
So our perspectives will be different.
Right.
So it's like a recording of a truth.
Okay.
As you go along, the truth will be painted by the different perspectives and attachments.
So this is a question about the authenticity of the Pali Canon. Okay, let me put it this way. We used to talk about the 4 Nikayas, which are called the oldest teachings. I think we can go into 5 Nikayas. It's quite safe, because in the 5th Nikaya, although some of the books are very late, that means long after the Buddha has passed away, the 5th Nikaya does have old texts. It's okay to be generous with the suttas, so we can say 5 Nikayas. But when I translated in my mind, I say, okay, the 4 Nikayas are good enough for me, DMSA. This partly not to frighten myself with so many Nikayas. But then, sooner or later, the cross-references, I find I got, for example, Life of the Buddha, you find even the Vinaya has got story of the Buddha in the Mahavagga, for example. Okay, let me talk about the 5 Nikayas. It's easier to answer that way, because you put in Vinaya, you put in Abhidhamma, it's very complicated. We are talking about a bigger span of time. So when you talk about the 5 Nikayas, especially the 4 Nikayas, but you can take the 5th one, we can talk about the lifetime of the Buddha plus, say, 100 or 200 years after that, up to Asoka's time. Asoka's time is the cut-off period. After Asoka's time, that's the 3rd council, right? The sutta, the Pitaka is closed, you see. In other words, no new additions are made. Right? Now I'm talking about the core of the sutta of the Pali Canon. I'm not talking about the Abhidhamma, I'm not talking about the Vinaya, okay? Which are quite late. But the 4 Nikayas plus parts of the 5th Nikaya are very old. Very old means Buddha's time until plus 1 or 200 years. Number 2, how were they recorded? Now I'm talking now and then it's being taped, okay? And maybe one day somebody say, okay, let's listen to this, and then we write it down. So they write it down and you find, sometimes, when you talk, and the book system is different. A talk is very flexible, very colloquial. So once you put it into a book form, you got to edit it. So imagine the sutras that you have now, they are like, we call it transcripts. So these monks, there are many monks who listened to the Buddha teaching, and they all got together during the first council according to Theravada tradition, 500 monks, all hearts to good memories, and they responded to the questions asked by Mahakassapa, and they related all the suttas they have heard. So then the 500 monks kind of recited together. Okay? So that's how we got the core of the sutta today. So that means they go through what's called an oral tradition. The teachers memorize the teaching, then they tell their students directly. Like that. So you want to learn, you must go to the teacher. This is a very important tradition. It's not like today, you take a book home, you study, and then you can give talks already. Right? Even without a teacher. In those days, you must go to a teacher because you don't just learn things, you also you've got to change your personality. The teacher will look at you. If you have a proud personality, your teacher will tell you every day go and wash toilet. So you have to do that. Then when you're ready, you don't start complaining. Teacher says, okay, come, let's learn suttas. So the monk is trained on all levels. The first 5 years of a monk is very important. Nisaya. Whenever you meet a monk, you have the right to ask, how many wasa are you, Bante? How many wasa as a bhikkhu are you? Okay? So by right, if it's a novice, you should not be traveling around. You should have a senior monk. Better still, you should be under Nisaya. Nisaya means you spend 5 years on the training. These 5 years are crucial. It makes you a monk. It makes you a monk. You live in a monk, you sense what the monk. Otherwise, you wear the robes, but you still behave like a lay person. Okay? So, during the 5 years, you'll be learning all these things. Direct transmission from the teacher, in that sense. So, these suttas were handed down orally. Some people will say, wow, oral, isn't that inaccurate? Not true. Because this oral tradition, they got some very clear rules. In the Buddha's time, all the religions follow the oral tradition. So it's a very common rule. And scholars have done research. They found among the pre-literate people who don't use writing, they chant and recite. Just like Homer's time. He's a blind person, he recites the stories. So oral tradition is like poem. And many of these poems, they got meter, or like a song. You sing a song, you miss out one word, you know something is wrong, right? So the chanting is like that. So they know when something is missing and so on, and then you chant, there's a tune to it, right? When I was in Thailand, I'm Western educated, so my memory is more what's called assimilative, analytical, not what we call analytical, not assimilative. Whereas the traditional Thai monk is assimilative, picture, photographic memory. They remember chunks and chunks of things. But you ask them what's the meaning, most of them don't know until later in their life. So whenever I have difficulty with my work, sutta study in Thailand, very easy because I stay at Wat Saket in Bangkok too. You got like 200 monks there. Many of them have Pali credentials. Whenever I'm not sure, I just go next door and say, hello brother, how are you? Can you recite to me this thing? And you just recite to me, I listen carefully. I say, okay, stop. I got it. Okay, that's why I want to just copy it down. And I go back to my work. So you have these wonderful people who memorize these teachings. And I'm told even in Myanmar today, there are some monks who can memorize the whole Tripitaka. So it's possible. Oral tradition is the way these teachings have been memorized. So once you have oral tradition, it's not, you cannot simply add or minus. It does happen by accident. When it was written down in Sri Lanka, sometimes you find certain passages got mixed up, So, but very rare. And now we have the first 2 volumes of the Chinese Tipitaka, which are called the Agama Suttas, Hanting, which preserve the early tradition. So now, Bhikkhu Analayo specializes in this tradition, the Chinese Agamas. The 4 or 5 Nikayas got their more or less corresponding Agamas. So now he's comparing the Chinese translation with the Pali translation. And it's a very interesting study. It's not always exact, but it's very helpful for you to be able to understand what the original passage was like. Okay, then the next thing is we know the suttas are old because you got historical proof, Asoka's time, and then the council was there, and then the cut-off period. and then the books went to Sri Lanka, the text went to Sri Lanka, and then to Myanmar, Thailand, and so on. So in other words, you have this quite clear tradition, and the Theravada who preserve the Pali, they are very strict about chanting all these things. So because of all these safeguards, we can be quite certain to say the Pali tradition is unlikely to be mishandled or people adding, minusing. Even if it does, it will be very minor and we can detect it very easily. So that's why the Pali suttas are very important to us. Okay, this is the scholar side. But remember now, what is the purpose of the sutras? You want to know, number one, what did the Buddha actually teach? Number two, you want to practice those teachings. So, in other words, you don't study the sutta by itself, you will not understand it. The sutta is about practice, meaning keeping the precepts, which is quite easy. It talks about meditation, that's the interesting part. Okay? So when you do your meditation and when you read the sutta, you find the sutta speaks to you. It becomes clearer. Sometimes, like for example, especially when I get up early in the morning, when the mind is very peaceful, that's when certain thoughts will come to me and say, oh, this is what actually the sutta means, and things begin to fit together. So you must get into the insight mode through your meditation when the mind is very calm. So you have study, you have practice, and then comes realization. Parayati, Patipati, Pativeda. Remember the three trainings, the three parts of the sutta study or life as a Buddhist. So study, practice, realize. Study is a sutta, practice is meditation, and then the insight comes with realization. So in that sense, I would say it's very hard to doubt the authenticity of the Pali Canon. Right? So of course there are people who say, oh, one of the things, one problem I had now recently, some people actually tell me, the Mahayana tell me, they say, oh, there's no such thing as early Buddhism. Sometimes because of some people discover texts of the Gandhara, Mahayana is older than early Buddhism. I said, please don't say that. Without early Buddhism, there will be no Mahayana, no other yanas. What the scholars discover are their own personal opinions. Next generation, they will change their opinion. So you cannot quote one scholar and say, oh, okay, it changes the whole of Buddhist history. I don't think anyone in their right mind will ever say that the teachings in the Pali Canon are later than Mahayana. I mean, it doesn't make sense at all. You compare historically the teachings, the texts, they're very different. The Mahayana texts belong to the book tradition. There is no repetition, very rare. Not like in the Pali. So it belongs to a time when books were popular. They were written down. Not the Pali Canon at first. They were recited. So big differences. Okay? Alright, any other questions? I'll just say a few things and questions you ask me, alright? So here, why do we want to study the suttas? Because the sutta preserves the Dharma. Next question, what is the Dharma? The Dharma, in this sense, Dharma has many, many meanings. The Dharma refers to the Buddha's experience of awakening. The suttas are valuable because they tell us about this amazing event. To us, it is the most important event in religious history. When man goes beyond God, becomes awakened, and man is able to free himself from the world of humans and gods. Isn't it wonderful? That's the Dharma. Number two, this is the teaching of the historical Buddha, not some fabulous Buddha, some imaginative Buddha who don't exist, invented by some people later on. So this is a historical Buddha, he's real. In other words, as a human being, we too can follow his path and awaken just like him. And because of this, we value the early text. By early text or early Buddhist text, EBT, refers to the records of this historical person, which are very systematic, very clear, very spiritual, and when you study them, they will guide you with your meditation. Sutras are important because it preserves the Dharma, and the Buddha himself put the Dharma even above himself. early Buddhism is not a guru-based teaching. It's a Dharma-based teaching. The teacher is below the Dharma, the teaching above the teacher. As soon as Buddha got enlightened, very soon after that, the Garava Sutta, Garava means respect. Garava Sutta, S6.2. Now this sutta is so important, there is another record in sutta called the Uruvela Sutta in Anguttara, A 4.21. So you have two versions of this story. And this is found in the SD 12.3. SD 12.3. In the Garava Sutta, the Buddha reflects that, okay, I just awakened. Now, who shall I bow down to show my respect as a teacher? The Buddha says, one dwells in suffering if one is without respect, without deference to others. Now, what ascetic of Brahmin can I, honoring, respecting, dwell in dependence on? Notice what the Buddha says. It's good to show respect to people, especially to teachers. If we don't, then it's not good. For the sake of fulfilling an unfulfilled aggregate of moral virtue, concentration, wisdom, freedom, and knowledge and vision of freedom, I should find this teacher and worship him. Sila, Samadhi, Panya, the three training, and then freedom, that means awakening, and then the knowledge and vision of this awakening. These are the 5 dhammas. So we'll say, because I have found all these things, is there someone I can bow down to? Then he service the way found. Nobody else has got this kind of awakening. He didn't say, wow, I'm the one, so bow down to me. He didn't say that. Nowhere in the sutta you find him talking like that. Even his life history also, not very detailed. Doesn't talk much about himself. In fact, this is what he says, and this is the essence of the sutta. What now if I, honoring, respecting this very Dharma, to which I have fully awakened, were to dwell in dependence on, to depend on this, show respect to this Dharma. So remember, as Buddhists, the reality is we only have one refuge. That one refuge is the Dharma, which the Buddha and all the other Sangha members also take. But we split into 3 because it's easier. We have a teacher, teaching, and then we call the teachees, in other words, the saints, right? The noble Sangha, the graduates, if you like. So, when we talk about this refuge, we must remember the Buddha, even the Buddha puts Dharma first. And the Buddha is very wise in doing that, because when the Buddha passes away, if the Buddha says, oh, there must be a leader, then you're going to have problems, Who's going to lead the Sangha? This is where we have the Gopaka Moggallana Sutta. I can't remember the Majjhima number, but I know it's in the Majjhima. The Buddha has passed away. So there you see here, this sutta is recorded when the Buddha has passed away. Vasakara comes along. There's another general who comes along. And then asks the Buddha, because a politician wants to know how the Sangha rules itself. He says, who's in charge of the Sangha now? Ananda says, no one. No one is in charge. And then this politician doesn't believe it. He says, is that possible? You've got no one leading you. So even the king, the king of the country, says, no, it's the Dharma that guides us. But there is, of course, an elder man with respect. But whenever there's a problem, we refer to the Dharma. This is a very wonderful example of constitutional governance. The constitution, not the person runs the country. You know what I mean? Right, so, the Buddha doesn't even appoint Sariputta Moggallana to take over his place. There is an elder monk, yes, but it's only symbolic position. It is the Dharma that defines us, to whom we take our refuge. We are not a guru-based teaching. This is another important difference between early Buddhism and later Buddhism. And that's why the suttas are very important to us. They record the teaching of this one special person. And then in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the Buddha talks about the Dharma Vinaya. Right? Today, in fact, I only talk about Dharma Vinaya. I didn't talk about Vidharma or even other things, but now I mention Dharma Vinaya. In other words, if we want to mention what is the early teaching, what do we use? Dharma Vinaya is a very good word. If you know the Dharma and the Vinaya, in fact, the Dharma is fine. This is what the Buddha says in his last instructions to us. He says, Ananda, it may be that you would think gone is the teacher's word. We have no teacher. Right? The Buddha is going to pass away. No? It should not be seen thus, Ananda, for the Dharma Vinaya, the teaching and the discipline that I have taught and explained to you, will, at my passing, be your teacher. Now mark the words, the Dharma Vinaya will be your teacher, not a person. Right? So it's not important that I'm here, Piya Tan is no. It is the Dharma that I present to you, in as much as I present you the Dharma. Remember that then you continue to transmit it. That's how the Dharma preserves and perpetuates itself. And this is the Buddha's instruction. Put Dharma first, then you are safe. You put people first, they will change their minds and a lot of problems and issues. So the suttas are preserved so that it will lead us from generation after generation. And it has been doing just that. The sutta you have in your hand. And then, what about worship? What's the best worship? Best prayer? Right? We have all kinds of wonderful ideas nowadays, even pilgrimages, right? Chanting, bowing down, how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. Ritual Buddhism. So if you follow the early teachings, we don't need all these things. So early Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism is very easy to practice. The supreme worship, Parama Puja, the highest worship, is the study of the Dharma. The Buddha was lying down, was going to pass away, and the story goes, this is the Neyata version, the meaning must be drawn out, flowers starting falling down from heaven. Remember? Mahaparinibbana Sutta. There were so much flowers, I'm just wondering, are the flowers very big? Did they knock down monks or not? Anyway, so lots of flowers, Then they fill up to the knee high. Okay? And the Buddha was lying down, probably smiling. Ananda was there. And then the Buddha said, Ananda, you see all these flowers and wonderful sandalwood perfume, heavenly music. You can hear canned music long before the shopping centers had it. So the Buddha tells Ananda, the gods are worshipping the Tathagata. They are honoring the Tathagata. But Ananda, this is not the way to honor the Tathagata. You want to show your worship? The supreme worship is the practice of the Dharma. That's the highest worship. Then there was one monk called Dharma Rama. He disappeared, he was not there. Some other monks were wondering, how come he never paid respects to the Buddha? He's going to pass away. So then he was called up. And the Buddha said, okay, well, the monks asked where have you been? And he said, well, I've been meditating because you said practice. Dharma practice the highest, Parama Puja. So I want to attain Arahatul before you pass away. Then the Buddha said, that's the way. That's the way. Practice the Dharma. Not worshipping anyone. Dharma worship is the best. Dharma worshiping. Right now, we are worshipping the Dharma. Listening to the Dharma, we are going to study suttas. If possible, aspire to stream. Okay? Alright. Any questions? At the back there. Father. Here is Theravada. The Amitabha one is Mahayana. Okay, very, very political question. Any Mahayanas here? Any Mahayana Buddhists here? Mahayana, anyone? Okay, so I mean, if you allow Mahayana, then I can talk more freely. To put it very simply, all those later Buddhism you see I call it emptiness and so on, and Confucianist ethics. The moment you enter a Chinese Mahayana temple, you go into a Confucianist world. The monk is royalty. You got to respect him. Okay? So, and you got to respect superiors, those in power. Basically, it's a Confucianist idea. One reason is because when we went to China, there was an emperor, very powerful emperor. So, and when emperor declared Buddhism a state religion, that's the end of Buddhism, because it becomes his tool. And then the monks cannot simply preach. He must have the approval of the emperor and so on. And there are the Ming emperor, for example, Zhu Yuanzhang, he banned the Vinaya. He didn't allow ordination. Can you imagine? So basically, he's saying I'm doing nothing, but he's stopping the monks from being ordained. So the monks couldn't do anything, but the Chinese are very resourceful. So they went to the Buddha image. They say, okay, oh Buddha, you are my witness. Now I'm a monk. So the Bodhisattva vows came into being. So Buddhism in China went through a lot of difficulties. So, which we don't have today. And there are many, many new things that came up which we don't need today. So that's why I said early Buddhism is simpler. Mahayana Buddhism has a lot of stories and rituals and what they call Chinese culture. This is one of the problems. Yeah? So my answer is that if you want a simple form of Buddhism, follow early Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism. Even Theravada may not be so early, but much of it is early Buddhism. Okay? And this place is the best place for you to come and practice. Other form of Buddhism, a lot of things to do, and so many things to explain. Very difficult. Takes a long time. In the end, you find there's no time to practice. So choose. Buddhism is a free religion. There are many kinds of Buddhisms to choose from. Choose wisely, test for yourself, follow the Kalama Sutta, and then you practice it. Don't just follow what other people do. Okay? I can really give you a short answer here, but you need a special talk for this.
We have one more question, last questions.
Brother Tan,
Yes.
can I know is Abhidharma is Buddha?
Okay. I was hoping no one will ask that question. Okay. Nowadays we talk about three Pitaka. We have the Vinaya, Sutta, and then the Abhidharma. But in the Suttas, there is no mention of Abhidharma the way that we see it today. There is only the adjective Abhidharma, Abhidharma. That means in connection with the Dharma. And there's another term called Abhivinaya, in connection with the Vinaya. So the simple answer is that there is no Abhidharma as we know it today in the Suttas. Okay, that's the simple answer. Alright? Now, I may not be able to say this in Myanmar. Remember, they're very traditional. They say, oh, Abhidharma, which is, they preserve the Abhidharma tradition, which is very wonderful. Let me put it another simple way, okay? My advice is, if you really want to know Buddhism, it's like studying science. You begin with general science first, maybe physics or whatever, and then only you go to nuclear physics, right? Now you don't start with nuclear physics. Now if you start with nuclear physics, you're going to have a lot of problems. Okay? So it's not that Abhidharma is false. We never say that. We just say that it is very difficult in many ways. Not everything is difficult, but most of it is. Where the Abhidharma explains and make the Sutta easier to understand, of course, it's very useful. Number two, remember, Abhidharma is different from the Sutta, and Abhidharma measures things. Try to make things very exact. Try to solve some apparent problems that people see, the scholars see in the Suttas. For example, we take the indriyas, eye, seeing the base is the eye, and smell base is the nose, and so on. So all the 5 physical senses have their base. But thinking, not located anywhere. The Buddha never said in the brain, no mention of this. So the Abhidhammas, people were deep thinkers, they said, this is missing, there's no base for this, for thoughts. Chitta, no base for it. So where is it located? So Buddha Gosha thought, where can we locate this? He decided to follow the common tradition in the heart. Now in the Visuddhimagga, Buddha Gosha literally says it's located in the middle of this vessel called the heart. Something like that. So Abhidhamma trying to solve some of these problems. So it's interesting in that sense, right? So my advice is, if you want to learn Abhidhamma, make sure your sutta is good first. Very important. Otherwise, this is a friendly warning. Okay? Your defilements will take over. Now, in Myanmar it's different because there's this powerful feeling of the Dharma everywhere. People are humble, they respect monks, they respect the Dharma. Everywhere you go, you hear Dharma words. In Singapore we don't have that level yet. So I know of people, my 50 years I've seen so many people, they started very young, as a teenager, wow, they go straight to Abhidhamma, but they say, wow, this is the most powerful teaching, underlying powerful. And then they reach past 10, 20 years, they are 30, 40 years old, they become some boss somewhere. They teach Abhidhamma, so now they're Abhidhamma master. And then suddenly I see their name, and no more already, they call themselves Sifu. So and so, and now they've gone into Feng Shui. What happened to the Abhidhamma? So in this case, I don't think this person really studied Abhidhamma. So, in other words, what I'm saying is people can have a wrong understanding of what Abhidhamma really is. It is a higher responsibility of study. You want to take out Abhidhamma, it's a very heavy responsibility, karmic responsibility. You must base yourself in the suttas first. Because Abhidhamma talks about the suttas. Abhidhamma, about the Dharma. Of course, later the meaning is higher Dharma. Okay? So, I would advise that. Build up your basis first. Otherwise, it's like learning what they call it, space science and all those higher science without a basis. Yeah? Okay. So, finish. Any urgent questions?
If that is so, can we say that in the beginning there was just Vinaya
Dhamma Vinaya, yes. In the beginning, yeah.
So that should be Pitaka and Pitaka.
Sort of, yeah. But we don't say Pitaka, we just say Dhamma Vinaya.
Then later it came out as
Yeah. Oh, the Dhamma is really interesting. You must have really a wonderful brain, high intelligence, very systematic, analytical mind. So that Dhamma, I think some wonderful things will come out from it.
So it started with the Vinaya and the Sutta.
Yes.
These four books, is it like the one here based on this
You want to buy this novel, you go to, for example, this Evergreen shop.
In Agrita Iron Road.
Yeah, Evergreen, yeah. You sign up as a member right away, they give you some discounts, right?
Let me add in that the 4 Nikayas just mentioned, Mangala Vihara has a website, and then under the Mangala Vihara Dharma Fellowship, we have a web page. In the web page, we have the e-library books. So these 4 Nikayas are there, you can download them.
Well, can I just close with a few sort of announcements? Okay, following what Brother T just said. So please explore the Dharma website. Okay, dharmafera.org. Very easy to remember. Dharmafera.org. It's the bottom of every sutta page. Number 2, I also have a Facebook. This is the fun part. All kinds of people go there all over the world, Sutta people, right? So you have a chance to meet a lot of Burmese monks and people from Africa and Canada and elsewhere. And it's a very disciplined website, so it's not like those crazy ones. Next one is, okay, those are the main ones. Yeah, next one I'm saying, please seriously consider the meaning of stream winning and read the notes just given to you, Inspiration to Stream Winning. This is a very important message for you today. Okay? So thank you for your patience on listening.
Can we say something to Thank you, Father.